3 months ago now, I made my first video on the channel Revenge Films. So basically what Revenge Films is, in case you haven't seen those videos, or like haven't heard of this channel before, they're basically this like really cringy and bad story time animation channel, kind of like My Story Animated. However, the videos are way lower quality. They use the same animation from like commercials you see when randomly watching YouTube and stuff like that. So yeah, the animation's bad, and the stories, now when I first started, the stories were simple stuff, like, Bratz thought it would be a funny prank to glue the keyholes, or package thieves, or my dad having another family, stuff like that. And then they started making a ton of cheating stories, a ton, and also a ton of Mama's Boy stories. This is basically both. Wait, no, this is for Mom. No, they do make a video with a husband with doing something with his mom, but, you know, I'm not talking about that one. So yeah, they made a lot of videos, really generic stuff. However, recently, they started getting really weird. Alright, so, I haven't really watched this channel in a while. I've eventually realized that this channel was just core brain rot, and I, like, really need to stop watching it, so I stopped, and, like, started doing other things in my time. However, I recently came back to see what was new, and I found content like this. My mother-in-law calls my child pig-nosed, so I snap and stomp on her face. What the heck? What is this? Your child's pig-nosed. Oh, what is that? Like, it's not that weird yet, but still kind of weird, not gonna lie. Mushroom thief gets stopped frozen vegetables on private land. That's just, like, weird. Like, there's just weird, kind of, like, weird stories. They're not insanely weird. The weirdest one was that one I just talked about. Then this one. My mother-in-law put laxatives in my food, but my son tried to eat it. Oh, nah. Laxatives. oh, yeah, I gotta talk about this. I know YouTube says I watched this one already, but I only watched, like, the first 25 seconds. I don't know why YouTube is telling me I fully watched it. I only watched, like, the first 25 seconds. I thought I had to make this. So let's start. No, I'm not doing this. Revenge Films!
My name is Sarah. I live with my husband Michael and our son Thomas, who's in preschool right now. I married Michael after 2 years of dating him, and at the time I didn't realize it when we were only dating, but I found out after we got married that he had quite the Oedipus complex and was a total mama's boy.
What? Okay. One thing that you can count on all mother-in-law stories, which already too many of those exist to have. I mean, there's already way too many Mama's Boy stories on this channel. I don't know why they love Mama's Boy stories so much, but mother-in-law stories, but they do. But all of them, at least like 90% of Mama's Boys, of mother-in-law stories, like mother-in-law. There's a lot of those on this channel, and at least 90% of them have the husband being a Mama's Boy. I don't know why this channel loves mother-in-law, Mama's Boy stories. Like, I don't get it. Why does this channel, why does this content farm in Japan love Mama's Boys? Like, already the mother having a lot of villains and, like, at least, like, 30% of Revenge Films be mother-in-laws is already, like, kind of weird. But then, I think most of them be Mama's Boys. It's just, there's way too many Mama's Boy stories on this channel. That's all I'm saying. And this one is obviously, and, like, they're all really bad. They're all pretty bad. They're not insanely bad. However, this one, just judging by the title, it seems like it's going to be a real train wreck. And it already seems like kind of a bad video, but because it has a Mama's Boy, but yeah, it's going to get worse. It probably will. I've only seen this far. I haven't made any farther, but judging by the title, it's going to get worse.
Michael always wanted to go back to his parents.
By the way, I haven't watched anything. I only watched, like, the first half minute. No, the first, like, half minute. From now on, I'm going to be watching this. I haven't actually seen any of this stuff before, so we're going to be watching this video together, because I haven't seen this before, so this is going to be my first reaction too. Though, I don't think I have to worry about this being boring, because this title, it's going to be interesting. It will.
So from time to time, our family goes over to visit his parents. But to be honest, I was pretty troubled by my relationship with my mother-in-law. Even if I'm trying to flatter her, I can't say that my mother-in-law was good at cooking. But she loves cooking, and she would always cook a homemade meal for us. However, it always tasted horrible, and my husband would always come up with some kind of excuse not to eat it. And so, it became the norm for me to be the only one that was forced to eat these terrible food. I simply didn't want to anger my mother-in-law, so I would force myself to eat it, but because she used all kinds of random ingredients in the food, I would often get a stomachache after. Because my son was still young, even if he didn't eat it, he wasn't particularly yelled at for it. And so we just pretended like he was a picky eater so that we could avoid having him eat this mystery food. One day when we went over to Michael's family's house, his mother wasn't home. Because of that, I was going to be making lunch for the day, and my husband and my son requested that I make ramen. Ramen was actually my mother-in-law's specialty dish, and she would often make the broth out of fish and spend hours on her ramen. The ramen that I made was a very simple and classic style ramen, and everyone said it was delicious and licked their bowls clean.
What does any of this have to do with this? Seriously, come on, man. The only thing that is even remotely similar to this title is food. This woman is making food. Just get to the point. The mother-in-law isn't home. Isn't even home. Get to the point, Adventurums. Get to the point.
That was when my father-in-law said,
"You can't even compare this to my wife's tasteless."
Dude, this is like a Connor Pugs video. You know, it's like Connor Pugs videos where like it takes him forever to like get to the title. It takes him forever to like get to the point. This is basically just like that. Like the mother-in-law isn't even home. She's not home. Why are you bringing this up?
It's ramen.
But right at that time, my mother-in-law had just come home and walked into the living room. "I can't believe you would speak about me like that when I'm not here. That's awful!" And she was furious, and they started to get into a fight. "Ma'am, please calm down. It's okay." "You shut up! First of all, this is all your fault for making ramen in the first place. I can't believe you would let your family eat the same thing as instant noodles. Your failure as a wife."
You make ramen.
Now that I think about it, I always thought...
Did the writers of this video just like forget that the mother-in-law made ramen? Did the writers just like forget that? Did like in 2 minutes in they just replaced the writers because they had some writer strike going on, so they just replaced the writers 2 minutes in, and they didn't watch the first 2 minutes before making this? Because the mother-in-law made ramen, if I'm not mistaken. Ramen, didn't they say like ramen was a novel dish for the woman? Why is she complaining about her making ramen if she made ramen? What is going on? What is this video surrounding?
But Sarah's cooking tasted kind of like instant food.
What? Instead of trying to calm down his mother who was yelling at me, instead my husband took her side and came after me, and that was infuriating. I felt really bad that I angered my mother-in-law, and when we got home, I was feeling really upset about it. But that was when my husband said the most unbelievable thing.
"Hey, what do you think that my mom is?"
"What do you mean?"
"Someone who makes
It might
ramen?
be true that my mom's cooking is tasteless, but I can't believe you made ramen in her house."
Dude, you suggested it! Okay, this isn't just him being a bad husband. Like, I know they don't want us to like this guy, and they want this guy to be a really bad person, to be really bad, and to not be very considerate of his wife, because he's supposed to be a really bad husband, but this isn't him being a bad husband. This isn't. This is him just being stupid. You suggested that they make ramen! You suggested it! You suggested that they make ramen! Why are you getting upset over this? It's just him being stupid and the writing of this video being horrible.
And said the most unbelievable thing.
"Hey, what do you think that my mom is?"
"What do you mean?"
It might be true that my mom's cooking is tasteless, but I can't
This is gonna be well with twice length. I really gotta make my comments very short.
believe you made ramen in her house. Almost like you did it on purpose.
Dude,
I only made ramen because you and Thomas insisted that's what you wanted to eat for lunch.
I don't remember that, but I've been thinking this for a while now. But if you don't act like my mom's cooking is delicious, then I feel so bad for her. You better be careful from the next time.
This is just stupid.
Even though he would always run away from cooking and only force me to eat his own mother's tasteless cooking, I couldn't believe that he was even complaining to me about it. I was irritated, and I was about to reach the peak of my patience that I'd been holding in until then. A few days later, I got a call from my mother-in-law saying that she received vegetables from a friend and that she wanted to share some with us. So Michael, Thomas, and I headed over to their house.
You're just happily accepting that after what just happened? You're partly to blame for like all the conflict. Do you realize that the wife is partly to blame for the conflict of this video? And the way that she's just coming over, and they don't even show her being miserable. They show her having a nice little smile on her face when they walk over. She had no reason to have that smile. She wasn't near the parents' smile. She was just happily going over. They don't show her having any kind of upsetting. They don't show her being upset about that. They don't show her being in any form upset. They show her being happy, going to... After this incident, she should not be happy. And she is having an effect. She is causing the conflict of the story. She isn't completely causing it, but she is having a great role on the conflict of this video.
Michael's mother was waiting for us with a snarky look on her face and 3 bowls of ramen prepared. I saw Michael try to run away, but I grabbed his arm, and that day my husband was going to be eating his mother's food with me for the first time in a long time.
Good, you should.
On the dining room table, there were 2 large bowls of ramen for Michael and me, and for Thomas there was a child-sized bowl as well as small rice balls and sausages for him. Even though I angered her the last time we were there, she still prepared food for us that I know must have taken her hours to make. With my mother-in-law's kindness right in front of me, for some reason, I started to feel some kind of guilt.
Why is this woman is so stupid? Like, alright. Last incident was pretty bad. I mean, this was really bad. Like, okay, fine. Maybe I can see her being alright with this. I still can't get over the fact that she went to this woman's house. But I mean, I can see her being kind of
towards her
about this.
My husband seemed terrified to eat his ramen, and after taking just 1 bite out of it, he got up out of his seat without saying a word and disappeared from the dining room. Even though the ramen was tasteless and terrible, I said over and over again that it was delicious and forced myself to finish it. Perhaps because I was forcing myself and trying to say that it was good, the ramen tasted even worse than ever. Even though the ramen was usually fishy and barely had any flavor, the ramen today seemed like it had bit.
Really though? I really don't get why you're being so descriptive of this. Like, this video... Come on. Like, I mean, I know that this video is short, so, I mean, they can make stuff like this, but come on, man. I'd be fine if like, this video was, like, 7 minutes. I honestly feel like the reason that they're adding so much detail to this video is that they can make sure that it's long enough to have at least, like, 1 ad in it and make some money off of this.
A bitterness in it.
Oh dear, you still have some soup left. You need to drink all of it.
Like,
I'm sorry, I'm very full, so...
Why?
You're the worst kind of leftovers. Somebody made a cooked meal for you. Are you seriously gonna waste this cooking that took me hours to make? Shut your mouth and finish all of it.
You really gotta leave.
As she said that, my mother-in-law tried to force me to have the remainder of the ramen soup.
Patience.
Just thinking about drinking the rest of this tasteless soup, I started to get nauseous.
And then I got the idea from looking at this. She has the patience of Carlos Lester from Psych with Sean Spencer and Gus. And you probably not understand that reference unless you watched that show. But if you did, kudos.
I couldn't help but to look away from my bowl of ramen. But then, when I wasn't looking away, Thomas had reached for my bowl and was about to drink it from me. However, right at that moment, my mother-in-law screamed, "Oh!" Even though she always tries to get Thomas to eat her food, I thought it was strange that she would try to stop him. After that moment, I felt something shift in my body. I was suddenly overwhelmed with stomach pain. I thought that something was wrong with me when I heard my husband yell from the kitchen.
Hey, Mom! Where's your first aid kit? Oh, there it is. There it is. I have a really bad headache, so I'm gonna have some painkillers.
You can't take that medicine.
Even though my mother-in-law tried to stop him by yelling to the kitchen,
it
was in vain because my husband had already drank the mystery medicine. And then I could see that Michael was starting to experience extreme stomach pain like me.
My stomach! Is this because of this medicine?
Just hurry up and get to the toilet, now!
I thought it was suspicious, and when I tried to confront my mother-in-law about it, she insisted that she didn't know anything at all. And so I grabbed the medicine that my husband had just drank. My mother-in-law panicked and she tried to snatch it out of my hands, but I managed to at least get the name of the medicine, and I looked it up on my phone. And that medicine was laxatives. Did you mix laxatives into my ramen? No matter how you think about it, that's too awful!
Because you refuse to enjoy my cooking.
My mother-in-law turned and was angry.
This is the most trivial video ever. It's just so trivial and like, it's so like, what's the word? Civil and trivial. This is the most trivial thing ever. This is like the most trivial video ever. Like, the conflict is just so civil, like trivial things. It's just weird. Like, this is the weirdest idea to make a plot of. So basically, this woman doesn't enjoy school. So she has to enjoy mother-in-law's cooking. So she puts laxatives in her food. What is this plot? It's just weird. I don't get it. What kind of adult wants to watch this? What adult wants to watch these really stupid videos? Like, I know that this video doesn't have an insane amount of views, but still, 13,000, over 13,000 adults, and probably a few kids, because, I mean, of course, I can't be the only kid who has watched one of these videos in my life. I can't. I mean, there have to be, I don't get it. Who likes these? Who the audience? Like, I'm a kid, and I am probably the only person who actually realizes that these videos are bad, considering how many views these videos keep on getting. And considering the comments, I'm probably the only person. To say that there's like no hate comments on these like really bad videos. Am I seriously the only person who recognizes that these videos are stupid?
At me. And as we got into an argument, my father-in-law, who had been out for the afternoon, came home right at that moment, and so I explained the entire situation to him.
The timing in this video is insane. The last time they come, the mother-in-law is out, and the father-in-law is out the next time? What is this timing? It's weird.
And then he was furious, and he kicked his wife out of the house on the spot. In the meantime, because of the large amount of laxatives that was mixed into the ramen, I had stomach pains that lasted until the next day. Despite that, my husband was only worried about the fight between his parents, and he didn't even seem the slightest bit worried about my health or well-being. And that was when I started to think seriously about getting a divorce.
You didn't do that before? Honestly, though, this woman has some god-tier patience. The fact that she only now started considering a divorce after his wife spiked her food, considering that didn't happen after this incident. The fact that she didn't even start to think about getting a divorce? Come on.
From Michael.
After
that, because I was so traumatized from the pain I felt from eating ramen with laxatives mixed into it, I stopped going to Michael's house with him, and I was estranged from my mother-in-law. It seemed that my father-in-law was troubled for many years by his wife's terrible cooking, and perhaps because he was finally freed from that stress, he must have been really happy. Because he used to be extremely skinny, but it looks like he was finally putting on some weight. In the end, he decided to get a divorce from his wife. A few days after that, I got a phone call from my mother-in-law, and she tried to apologize to me. And then she tried to ask me to help her convince her husband not to get a divorce. But I could understand very well just how much my father-in-law had been suffering until now. I told her that there was no way I could trust somebody like her that would secretly put laxative into my food like that. And so I refused. Because my husband was a mama's boy, I already predicted that he would become furious if he found out that I went against his mother's wishes. However, I couldn't not tell him what happened, so when he came from work that day, I explained the situation. I told him exactly how the phone call went, and just as I expected, Michael threw a tantrum.
You married into this family, and yet you're going to deny a flavor that my mom asked you? What the hell you think?
Flavor, you gotta be serious. You gotta be kidding me.
Okay, help her and make my parents get back together.
Divorce.
If my parents actually get divorced, then it's gonna be all your fault. And if that happens, then I'm going to be divorcing you!
As soon as I heard his words, I felt something step inside of me, and I exploded and unloaded everything onto him. Is that so? Well then, let's get a divorce. Not only was I forced to eat such tasteless cooking, as a cherry on top, she mixed laxatives into my food without me knowing.
Cherry on top? Cherry on top? Really? Really? For real though. Really? It's like you don't even care about the laxatives. For real though. Like, come on. The fact that only now you get a divorce after your husband throws a temper tantrum, even though you knew he would, like, you were even put off. You knew he was going to throw a temper tantrum. You explained to us that you knew that was going to happen because he's a mother's boy. But only after it happens you divorce him? It doesn't make a lot of sense, really, does it?
Trying to put laxative into somebody's foods without their knowledge. You know that, right?
Stop treating my mom like she's a criminal!
I'm definitely not going to be the one again between your parents. Let's get a divorce.
Obviously, there's no way you could actually do that. If you're going to apologize, now's your chance.
I already decided that we're going to get a divorce. I've had enough of a mama's boy like you.
Okay,
when my husband realized that I was being serious about my intention of getting divorced, he immediately started to panic. However, I had already decided and it was set in stone. Michael knew more than anybody how much I suffered from the laxatives, yet he was taking his mother's side.
Yeah.
And not only that, but he was attacking me, and I didn't need a husband like that anymore.
Yeah, this guy obviously doesn't have empathy. The fact that he's doing that means he obviously doesn't really have empathy, considering that he also had laxatives. Also, I can't believe I'm only now asking this. Why the hell? Yeah, he thought they were painkillers. But, for real though, why the hell did this guy think, just assume, that those pills were painkillers. Really though, this guy is the IQ of like, dude, this guy has the IQ of like a 5-year-old. How do you just assume? Like, how is this guy? He just finds these pills. How do you just assume they're painkillers? Like, he obviously wasn't going to recognize a label for painkillers because they weren't painkillers. So why did this guy actually think that they were painkillers? What made him assume this? What made him assume that those pills were painkillers? That's what I want to know.
On the next day, I had already prepared divorce papers and actually put them in front of him, and Michael apologized to me multiple times. However, I didn't accept any of them. And then, I told him that I was thinking about suing his mother for assault. I checked with the lawyer, and putting laxative into somebody's food without their knowledge and forcing them to eat it is a form of assault. And so, I decided to sue your mom for it.
You're joking, right? Stop that! My mom already apologized and said that she feels bad about it, so let it go!
Yeah.
Do you have any idea?
After this guy knows that he's getting divorced, yet he's still doing exactly why his wife's divorcing him. Like, he obviously doesn't want a divorce, yet he's still doing that. This guy's really stupid. Obviously, he isn't really trying too hard to, like, stop the divorce. It's like, he's still defending his mother after she already mentioned the divorce, so, you know. This guy is just a stupid, really bad guy.
Yeah.
And honestly, I know we're not supposed to like this guy, and I mean, sometimes the problem with these videos is that they do a too good job. They make us like the mama's boy too much. They make the mama's boy at least like somewhat reasonable, so they make us like him too much. However, at least like we don't like him. However, I feel like it just went over the top. They tried. That's another problem with these mama's boy stories. They try too much to make us dislike these mama's boys. They try so much that it isn't really realistic. It's just stupid brain rot. It just feels like some stupid brain rot character that was conceived in like 2 minutes as like some character to like move the plot along. Like it doesn't really feel. This guy isn't a human. Like this guy makes some dumb decisions. He's just not really. It just feels not human. You know what I mean?
How much pain I was in for days?
No way!
My husband tried to get out of the divorce until the very end, but eventually he realized that I wasn't going to budge, and the divorce went through. After that, because he told me just how regretful his mother was, I did think twice about suing her. In return for not pressing charges, I made Michael promise that he would never come near me or Thomas ever again. However, he refused to pay child support.
How do you know that she's regretful? Did he literally just say?
I made Michael promise that he would never come near me or realized that I wasn't going to budge. Because he told me just how regretful his mother was.
You trusted this guy. You know that this guy basically worships his mother, yet you still trust him and decide not to press charges? You're an idiot. You are an idiot. Not as much as this guy, but you're still an idiot. Come on. Also, those actions are pills. Oh, okay. Really? How did you not see the pills? Those actions are pills. This is clear. How did you not see it? Were you like not paying attention? You idiot. You just eating it so fast that you didn't even notice the pills? For real? How did I just not think about that? Also, you trusted. Yeah, you're stupid.
I did think twice about suing her. In return for not pressing charges, I made Michael promise that he would never come near me or Thomas ever again. However, he refused to pay child support fees, so in the end I had to hire a lawyer to go through with the divorce, and I was finally able to get his legal agreement to pay child support fees every month. Perhaps after my son and I moved out of the house, he became lonely, and he came to me over and over again, crying and apologizing. But of course I had no intention of getting back together with him. I gave him permission to see Thomas once a month, and that was it. As for my former mother-in-law, I heard that she also tried everything that she could to get out of her divorce. But in the end, she wasn't able to convince her husband not to leave, and they did get divorced. She had to move into a small apartment by herself and live alone. Michael then turned the blame for his own divorce on his mother, and because he resented her for it, they became estranged. My mother-in-law had nobody left on her side and was going to be stuck living the rest of her elderly life alone. However,